All right, let's dive in. Today, we're talking about something that's happening right under our feet, but it's pretty much invisible. It's this massive, high stakes digital upgrade of our water systems. And yeah, it affects every single one of us every single day. You turn on the tap, water comes out. Simple, right? But have you ever really thought about the journey that water takes to get to you? And here's the kicker. How much of it just disappears along the way? Well, the truth is, a lot of our water infrastructure is kind of old. We're talking about these huge, sprawling networks of pipes and pumps that were built on decades-old tech. They're basically dumb. They can't feel what's going on, they can't talk to us, and we only find out something's wrong when, it's already broken. And the cost of this old system, it's just staggering. In the industry, they have this term for it, non-revenue water. It sounds technical, but it boils down to something really shocking. Billions of gallons of water are lost from leaks before they even get close to your house or a business. It's this quiet crisis happening underground, and this is the good part, it's a crisis we're finally starting to figure out. So, how do we fix it? Well, the first step is physical, and it's on a scale that's almost hard to wrap your head around. We're not just patching pipes anymore. We're literally giving our water system a brand new nervous system. And to really get a sense of the scale here, just look at what Southeast Water is doing down in Australia. Their project? Upgrading 1 million water meters. Just think about that for a second. The logistics of going to 1 million different homes and businesses to install a digital upgrade. And what's wild is that this kind of massive effort is happening in cities all over the world. So how do you even manage a project that big? It's super complex, but you can kind of break it down into 3 main stages. First, you've got to plan and design the whole thing. The tech, the architecture. Then you have to actually go out and get all the hardware and make sure the software plays nice with it. And finally, you have the huge job of actually installing and turning on every single one of those meters out in the real world. And you can bet it's not easy. As one of the project reports I read put it, just so bluntly, plenty of things can go wrong. I mean, you've got everything from global microchip shortages to just coordinating thousands of technicians in the field. The risks are just huge. Getting this right is a serious, serious challenge. Okay, so what are these new smart meters actually doing? The absolute best way to think about them is as millions of tiny new nerve endings for the water grid. For the very first time, our pipes can feel what's happening inside them. Things like pressure changes, flow rates, even the tiniest little leaks. And they can send that message back to a central hub instantly. Okay, so we've just installed the nervous system. What's next? Well, you've got to give it a brain. And this is where the physical stuff, the meters, meets the smart software. This is where the real payoff, the real magic, starts to happen. Really, what we're talking about is a fundamental shift from being reactive to being proactive. Think about the old way. Someone had to physically go and read your meter, and big leaks, they might not be found for weeks. The new way, it's a constant stream of real-time data. AI can spot a potential leak the second it starts and send an alert, not just to the water company, but even to you, the customer. Now, at the very core of this new brain is a really cool concept called a digital twin. And no, this isn't just some fancy map. It's a living, breathing, virtual copy of the entire physical water network. And it's being updated in real time by all that data flooding in from those new smart meters. The easiest way to picture it? It's like SimCity, but for a real city's water supply. Seriously. Operators can use this digital twin to run all kinds of what-if scenarios. What if we close this valve? What happens if this main pipe breaks over here? They can see what would happen safely in a virtual world before they go out and touch a single piece of real-world equipment. And this isn't some far-off future tech. It's happening right now. You've got companies like Quadium, which has this open platform that lets even smaller utilities run these kinds of simulations. There's Arcadis Gen, using AI to predict which old pipes are most likely to burst next. And Bentley's WaterSight, which basically creates a single pane of glass, one screen where operators can see everything, the models, the live data, the whole shebang, all in one place. So we've got the hardware, we've got the software. That's great. But what does it actually mean for us, for our communities? This is where all that tech talk turns into real, tangible benefits. for our wallets, for the planet, and for our cities. And the impact is, frankly, pretty dramatic. When you look at the results from these smart water projects, you see these huge benefits. First, tons of water saved just by catching those leaks fast. Second, a massive jump in efficiency because you're automating all these old manual jobs. And the best part? All of that leads directly to savings for you and me, the customers. And we're not talking about abstract savings here. This is real money in people's pockets. Get this. In just one of the early rollouts in Australia, customers saved a collective $5.2 million. How? Because these new meters were spotting expensive leaks on their own property. You know, the kind of leak you'd normally never even know about until you got a crazy high water bill. And this is a big but, making these incredibly complex projects actually work isn't just about having the coolest tech. It turns out there's a recipe for success. You absolutely have to have support from the very top. You need a really smart, phased rollout plan. You have to keep everyone in the loop, from the field crews to the customers. And maybe most importantly, you have to be ready to actually use all that new data you're about to get. All right, so let's boil this all down. What are the big takeaways here? First, our water systems are in the middle of a huge and hugely important digital upgrade. Second, this combination of smart meters and software is creating a nervous system and a brain for our water grids. Third, this whole shift saves a ton of water, saves money, and makes our cities more resilient. And finally, success isn't just about the tech. It's about the people, the planning, and the strategy behind it all. So that leaves us with one final question to think about. As our climate continues to change and puts more and more strain on our water, could it be that the future of water security flows not just through bigger pipes, but through better data? Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.